Hi everyone, this is Rain Cabral Isiga from the Philippine Times, and we are here with Phil Times Talks. So tonight I'll be joined with two wonderful and inspirational ladies who also happen to be really, really awesome migration agents. So here are Johanna and Alice, and we would be talking about visas as well as visa conversions for Philippine passport holders. So first off, ladies, I'll get you to introduce yourselves. Johanna, fire away.
Hi, I'm Johanna Bertume Nonato. I'm a registered migration agent from Bridge Oz Migration Consultancy and also work as a solicitor at Dragon Legal Services.
Okay, and Alice?
Hi everyone, my name is Alice Nicolas. I have been a registered migration agent for the past 14 years with Fine Marks Australia.
Amazing. And for today's session, I just also wanted to let everyone know na this is just general information po. So obviously, each case or each individual will need to be assessed on case-to-case basis. However, what we're doing tonight is just offering free general information on certain things, as both Johanna and Alice have quite an experience already in the industry. And if we want sort of direct and personalized help, I'll make sure to tag the details on underneath the video as part of the caption so that you would speak directly to them about your own personal circumstances. All right. So is that clear? So eto, let's go in. So ikaw, Johanna, what visas do you normally do sa mga clients mo right now?
Usually, we do the employer-sponsored visas. So, yan ang marami. Mga TSS 482, ENS 186, and also permanent residency under the General Skilled Migration Stream. And mga iba rin, student visa and visitor visa. Those are the other ones. Basically, all visas except the refugee or the protection visas.
Okay. And Alice?
Same here. Kasi kami ni Johanna, mostly kasi sa Filipinos, wala tayong masyadong protection visas, di ba?
That's
So, partner visa, carer visa, yan yung mga una kong ginawa mga carer visa. Student visa, tourist visa, skilled migration, mga 482, citizenship application.
Okay. So talagang there's obviously a wide variety of visas that Filipinos can apply for. But mostly, and one of the things that we've been getting in Philippine Times as well is that may mga tanong regarding, I guess, visa conversions. So specifically, tourist visa. So if, for example, merong Filipino nationals who come to Melbourne, tapos they want to stay. Parang, for maybe 2 years or 1 year. So, ano ba yung mga, generally, what would you look for first if a prospective client will come to you, Johanna?
The first thing that I'd have to look at is their visa grant. So, patingin muna, may visa condition ba na 8503, which is no further stay. Kasi if they have that, they cannot apply for another visa while in Australia. So, that's one. Kailan ang visa expiration? May 3 months maximum stay ba? So, yun muna, kung eligibility to apply. And then the next one to look at is ano bang objectives nila? Gusto mag-aral dito, maging PR dito, may pamilya ba dito? And that's when I can give the advice based on their profile.
Okay. And kayo naman, Alice, if you had someone na halimbawa kapatid na ng citizen na tapos napunta sa iyo seeking seeking advice on potentially staying longer for the kapatid nila in the consultation, um what would you normally, aside from sabihin natin they don't have a 8503 further stay, ano normally yung next steps for you?
Ang next step ko really is to ask for their updated CV. Kasi ini-explore natin ano ba yung mga possibilities na pwede. Kasi baka pwede siyang may family member na may sakit, so pwedeng carer visa. di ba? Pwedeng student visa kung suitable dun sa applicant. So marami tinitignan muna namin yung possibility. So ngayon pag sinabi niyang nurse ako sa Philippines dun kami magdi-discuss kung ano yung options na pwede.
Okay.
Pero yung
So,
ikaklaro ko lang kasi yung 8503 like halimbawa meron ditong magulang na dumating, may 8503. So pwede siyang i-waive for very exceptional circumstances.
okay.
Compassionate and exceptional. Like nung nagka-COVID, merong dumating dito na magulang, may 8503, so pina-waive ko muna yon. Nag-ask ako sa department and it was granted. So nag-apply kami ng subclass 870. Ito yung parent visa na temporary for 3 years, meron siyang 5 years.
Okay. So
Granted
talagang
naman.
Oo. So talagang in cases like these, so super important talaga to seek proper advice from registered migration agents and lawyers, 'di ba? So from what I hear, meron tayong governing body, yung OMARA, who conducts regular checks. So how often do they do that in your businesses, Johanna?
So we have to apply for our license, our registration every year. So they look at our CPDs, nag-training ba kami, may 10 points, ganyan. Tapos, pati bangko namin, tinitingnan. Kasi meron kaming tinatawag na client account. Pagka nagbabayad yung kliyente, dun muna nakalagay. And the only time we can use that for operations is when we finish our job, pag nag-issue na kami ng statement of services. So, yun ang pag-check niya. And syempre, kapag may mga nagre-reklamo, naka-record doon at uma-action talaga ang MARA pag may mga complaints.
Okay. And obviously, the same would apply to you then, Alice, diba? So,
Oo, at saka yung hindi alam ng karamihan kasi sa social media minsan maingay 'di ba? You don't need an agent. Pero ang hindi nila alam, meron kaming Johanna knows this. Meron kaming legend na tinatawag. Ito yung parang requirement to, dapat may subscription ka. Ano yung legend? Yung legend, kung ano yung ginagamit ng mga case officers ng Department of Home Affairs, meron kaming access doon. So, yung policy, mga policies nakikita namin, how it operates. Kaya yung detailed, halimbawa student visa, yung detailed policies doon, alam namin.
Okay.
And another thing to add to that, sorry, is code of conduct. Meron kaming code of conduct. So, di ba, how we conduct ourselves with our clients. Ito yung mga unang-una. When we get you as a client, meron yung agreement, may client agreement, required yun sa amin. Pag walang ganun, pwede kayo mawalan ng lisensya. Pero marami kami naririnig na, di ba, wala kayong mga kontrata, tapos ginagawa nila yung visa nyo. That's wrong.
Oo.
Okay.
Saka kasi kami, Rain, pag migration agent kasi, ang business namin, ang iniingatan namin, yung registration number namin.
Right.
Kasi pag nawala yon, wala na kaming business.
Yes.
Kaya we just cannot, parang loloko-loko na may problema, ganyan. Mahirap.
And it's always good actually. So, ang number one tip na nakita ko talaga ngayon when you ask someone for assistance or migration assistance, then ask for the registration number. So that way, they know na they're legit and up-to-date yung kanilang information na binibigay sa inyo, no? Sa mga kababayan po natin na nanonood. All right. So let's move on a little bit now into the conversion. So my follow-up question ako here na, for example, let's say nag-attend ng Rotary Convention kasi nangyari lang yan early this year. As a convention coming here as a tourist visa, sabihin na natin. And they don't have any 8503. So walang further stay. And then they come to you and say, I like Melbourne. I would love to live here temporarily and maybe I want to study. So, Johanna, what would be, and you've mentioned a couple of things, but how would you, I guess, ensure that you are following the code of conduct and providing the right migration assistance to that client?
Yeah, I always start with their objectives nga. So ano bang gusto mo? Mag-aaral ka or magtatrabaho ka? And from there, yun nga, sabi nga ni Alice, we look at the CV. Importante yun na updated yung CV nila. So we see saan nag-aral, saan ba nagtrabaho, nasa skills list ba, may possibilities ba. So we walk them through different kinds of visas based on their eligibility and based on their objectives. So kung convention yan at Rotary, naman yung mga sa Rotary, baka yung age, di ba? So titignan mo yung age, ilang taon na. Kung PR ang gusto, hanggang 44 lang. Hanggang 55 pwede kung Dama area. So ang daming kailangang pag-usapan. Pero kasi dahil sa sobrang dami ng visa, we have to check muna sa akin palagi, ano bang objectives mo?
Okay. So, Alice, may mga times na ba na sinabi, okay, at first ng client na, I just want to study. Tapos, babalikan ka after 6 months na sabi, actually, I want to stay na permanently. Ano yung permanent visa pathway? Has that been the case?
Oo, merong naka-tourist visa, hindi naman namin nilakad, pero lumapit na lang sa akin. Mga 52 years old na siya. Sabi niya gusto niyang mag-aral. Tapos diniscuss ko kasi kailangan upfront ka na wala ka ng very limited na yung PR pathway mo kasi 52 na Pwede siyang parang maging subclass 4A2, yung work sponsorship, pero renew ka lang ng renew nun kasi wala lang ang PR pathway. Very, very limited. In-accept naman niya, sige, gusto ko lang mag-aral talaga.
Okay.
Kaya lang after nung nag-aral siya, syempre, ano ba yung PR pathway ko? Di ba diniscuss na nga natin na wala. Nasa kontrata na, kaya may letter of advice kami nila Joanna. Kasi naka-itemize dun na sinabi mo, mag-aaral ka lang, very clear tayo, yung mga ganun. Ngayon pagka naman minsan 50 years old na, gusto pang pumunta dito, ang sasabihin ko na lang is, limited na yung PR pathway mo, I would advise you, yung sa mga anak ka na lang mag-invest kung gusto mong in the future tumira sa Australia. Ngayon, paaralin mo na lang yung mga anak mo and then eventually, parent visa ka na lang.
Okay.
Kasi tanggapin natin it's reality na yung mga Filipino kaya tayo gumagastos ng thousands of dollars ng panahon dito sa Australia kasi gusto nating may yung permanent residency di ba? And ang good thing naman na nangyayari, lahat naman ng mga pumupunta dito, kahit ano pang visa sila, naka-tourist visa, nag-student visa, whatever, nag-partner visa, sila naman talaga yung mga nagtatrabaho Sila yung mga naging nurses talaga And it's helping the economy. Di ba? Bumibili sila ng bahay, sila yung may mga kotse. Masisipag naman talaga in fairness.
Okay. And I guess, was there a time for you guys that you had to say no to a client for one reason or another?
Yes.
Sa akin, ang mga hindian ko na kliyente is kapag sa unang interview pa lang, ang mga balaki na yung magpeke ng documents. Yan. So, I'll tell them that, you cannot falsify documents. Kunyari lang for example, may mga partner visa na mahuhuli mo kasi sa tanong na fake. Ang mga tanong, pupunta ba yan sa bahay ko? I-interviewin ba kami? Titignan ba to? Yung mga ganon. So, and I immediately tell them, kasi yun nga, code of conduct namin, kung alam namin na nagmi-mislead, we should not put that forward. So, we tell them right away that, ako, kung fake yan, I cannot, represent you.
Okay. Ikaw, Alice?
Ganun din, same din. Kasi parang pagka nilapitan ka, dapat tutulungan mo sila Hindi yung pwedeng, parang klaro naman sa mga kliyente ko na may mga nagko-comment nga sa Facebook, I highly recommend Alice, pero mahigpit yan. Minsan, okay, mahigpit ako, pero kasi yun yung goal natin Kasi kahit, ang immigration kasi kahit nag-grant na yung visa mo, pag nalaman nilang incorrect information or fake yung documents mo, nakalusot ka, they can strip off that visa. Maka-cancel yun.
That's correct.
So,
sa mga Pilipino, madalang naman yung nagpe-fake. Ano, Johanna? Napakadalang
Madalang lang naman. Pero alam mo kasi may mga jokes din yan Kasi ang Pinoy daw, sa kultura natin, mahilig magsumbong. Kaya nahuhuli ka agad.
Ang daming Marites, right?
Ganyan.
I had to madaming Marites, madaming nanguusyo Sarah. But at the same time, I think for me naman, and I'll share a little bit, is I actually came to Australia first as an exchange student. Tapos, from Miriam. Tapos my dad died, and I ended up converting into international student visa. So I think it's quite close to my heart when people ask na, oh, how did you end up here? Or even when I see other people, kaya nga madaming nagtatanong sa Philippine Times on, is that legal pag tourist ka tapos bigla ka naging student? Parang sabi ko naman, it's the Australian government's decision, 'di ba? To allow, if you comply with the requirements and you meet the requirements, I don't think there should be any issue, to be honest. That's my, speaking from personal experience. And what you said then, Johanna, na what if there's someone who's a Marites na about this and that? No, everyone has their own migration journey. And for me talaga, we're all migrants here. The only one who na hindi migrants are the Aboriginal Australians. That's end of the come at me, pero that's the reality, diba? Like everyone else, even the Aussies themselves are are visitors here. So I think for us, a little bit more understanding, personally, kasi medyo for me it's close to home, kasi I was also an international student and then ended up working, being on a 485 visa. Before, ang dami pa nga, hindi lang subclass 500, there was like 572, 555, madami. 2005 po to, okay? So, and don't come for me na, ba't ganito? No, it was a very different, iba pa nga hindi pa nga Department of Home Affairs, hindi pa nga imi.gov.au ang pangalan yan. So, madami. So, I just wanted to also share that. And also, thank you so much, ladies, for really providing honest and genuine and accurate information. So, before we end, I just also wanted to ask, Johanna, any final words, and obviously followed by Alice?
I guess yun nga, when you need advice, wag masyadong nakikinig sa bulungan ng mga tao na hindi naman sila yung may authority to say those things. So, mga migration agent dapat ang kausap nyo or mga immigration lawyers. And make sure you check them out first sa MARA. Pag lawyer, dun kayo sa state, kunyari sa Victoria, VLSB yung pupuntahan nyo, Legal Services Board, to check yung pangalan nila. Meron namang search You can always search the name. Just to make sure na talagang registered sila. Pag registered, may code of conduct, kailangan silang, may lisensya na pinoprotektahan. So, yun ang aking final words.
Okay. And Alice, before you say your final words, may question ako actually for you both. Paano yung mga hindi registered migration agent na nagbibigay ng advice sa Facebook and even actually running their own businesses and saying free information session? Anong masasabi nyo dyan? Alice, ikaw una. Okay. Mainit
marami
to.
Marami kaming experiences dyan ni Joanna. Kasi parang minsan kailangan mag-ingat yung mga tao. Lagi kong sinasabi, pag may kausap kayo, kahit sino man yan, minsan kasi sa social media, sasabihin, etong friend ko, pwedeng dito ka na. Yung alam mo yung maraming magaling na ang aim naman nila is to help. Kaya lang na bubulilyaso kasi yung mga documents ng mga tao. So, mag-ingat lang. Always ask for the registration number.
Yeah. Ang more question ko is, yung mga nagsusulputan na information sessions and new businesses from, like lately, na nakikita natin and saying na, okay, we can help you come to Australia. Tapos wala palang napapakitang registration number, Johanna.
Yeah, kasi yung mga ganyan, yun ang mga kailangan i-report nga sa MARA. Ang problema is MARA, ang dinidisiplina ni MARA, kaming mga registered.
Tama.
Right? At saka yung mga wala naman, at saka yung office naman nila sa Philippines, wala sa jurisdiction. So, it's really hard to police them. So, mag-report ka, wala naman masyadong mangyayari, right? So, it's really about the people. Kaya kailangan ikaw mismo, mag-check ka and make sure na may lisensya sila. Kasi kung ang issue rin kasi niyan kapag front, 'di ba, tinanong mo face to face, o bakit ganun? Bakit wala ka naman palang lisensya? Ang usually isasagot niyan, may partner akong lawyer. O 'di ba? Yan.
True.
May partner akong migration agent. Pag ayan ang sagot sa inyo, kunin mo yung pangalan ng lawyer at saka ng migration agent. You have to check them out and they have to be the one giving you advice. Hindi kung sino-sino lang na staff nila. Tapos, hindi, dito may license number. Kasi nagawa na yun sa akin eh. Ginawa akong partner kunyari na education agency. Tapos wala naman, lahat sila nag-a-advise doon. Tapos, nandun lang yung mara ko. Pero sila nag-a-advise. They don't even give me the client. So, it's very...
That's really sad. And I think it's, itong generation na to with social media, I think we should fact check. I think that's the main thing. And anyway, okay, Alice, your last words. Pasensya, biglang nasulpot.
ang ano ko lang talaga is, parang hayaan natin, halimbawa naka-tourist visa yung isang tao, kasi ito actual client ko to, nakailang balik na siya dito sa Australia o na tourist visa. Wala naman siyang planong magkaroon ng partner dito. Pero pabalik-balik siya hanggang may nag-introduce. Ngayon, dahil wala naman siyang 8503, pwede siyang mag-apply ng partner visa. Eligible naman siya. Talagang totoo naman, legit naman and genuine yung kanilang relationship. So wala siyang violation, di ba? Ang isa ko pang advice really is, kaya kayo kumukuha ng migration agent, you're paying for the knowledge and experience. Yung nakikita nyo sa Department of Home Affairs na information, yung nakikita nyo sa Facebook, sa social media, mga free yan. But you can spend the whole day searching for answer. Pero mahihirapan kayo kasi ang dami talagang information. Whereas kung pupunta ka ng registered migration agent, uupuan ka, magdi-discuss kayo, and then you discuss kung ano yung pwede yung visa pathway.
Okay. Maraming salamat, Johanna and Alice, for your time today. And
Thank
once
you.
again, sorry, Johanna and Alice, go muna.
Wala naman. Mag-goodbye lang kami. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye. So before we end the show, I just really want to say thank you so much to both of you. And once again, all the information that we provided are just general advice. So if you do want to speak to Johanna or Alice together or separately, make sure to contact them on the links below. And once again, thank you for joining me and the ladies for Fill Time Stocks. Maraming salamat po.